Good morning, everyone. It's Tim Wilmore here from Wizard Systems. Thanks for joining me today for GoldMine 101, our regular series of short GoldMine presentations focusing on different topics around GoldMine and CRM. And this morning I'm going to go through automated processes in GoldMine, a powerful feature of GoldMine that enables you to get extra productivity out of your system. Now, this presentation will be about a quarter of an hour or so in duration, just a very basic overview of the automated process feature, not meant to be in-depth training. My company, Wizard Systems, offers many extensive training options, and we do a one-day training course just on this feature of GoldMine. Now, the audio part of this presentation is one way only. If you've got any questions, please type those into the question box on your meeting control panel, probably lurking in the top right corner of your screen. I'll do my best to answer those at the end. Also, towards the end, I'll give you an update on any GoldMine product news we got, latest versions, etc., etc. This call's been recorded. After the presentation, you will get an email from our system, probably after a day or so, with a link to recording. You can share that with your colleagues and play back when you want to, and we'll most likely pop it up on our YouTube channel as well. So let's get started. Just first of all, before we dive into automated processes, APs, a brief mention about my company, Wizard Systems. I know many of you on the call do know of us. There's a few people who are fresh to us. We're a long-standing supplier of GoldMine. All we do is CRM. We've implemented well over 3,000 systems in our time, and we have a complete service around GoldMine, providing the system, the software, upgrades, customizations, integrations. We do also supply a wide range of very popular add-on utilities, tools to GoldMine that extend its functionality further in different ways. We also provide training at your place, our place, or online, whichever is more convenient for you. And we've got a friendly, responsive help desk service here ready to answer your calls. So, automated processes in GoldMine. Some of you may not be aware of this or be familiar with it, but GoldMine Automated Processes allows you to set up a series of predefined actions or events, activities performed on any contact record or group of contacts in your GoldMine database, automating routine tasks like sending out a series of emails, responding to queries, responding to new leads via your website, or any other series of business processes. So let me just pop into GoldMine proper. So here we are in GoldMine. So automated processes, let me actually get to that. You can actually get to automated processes via the tools menu, automated processes, and managed processes. Now, this is a very powerful part of GoldMine. It's not normally, it wouldn't normally be set up, configured by an ordinary user in inverted commas. It would be normally done by someone that does have a more extensive knowledge of GoldMine. And you need to think about what you want automated in your GoldMine system. What do you want GoldMine to do automatically for you? Because that's the first thing. Some things that you may think of may not be possible with the application. And also thinking about what's the repercussions of this automation. I mean, if you have some automation in your GoldMine system is going to create lots of phone calls for your salespeople, do you have enough hours in the day to make those extra phone calls? Nothing's worse or demoralizing than logging into your CRM system and seeing hundreds of outstanding scheduled phone calls that you just don't have enough hours to do, and they all have some similarity, and you can't pick out what are the priorities. So you've got to think about if you're getting automated processes to create extra things for you, do you have enough resources to manage those extra things it's going to do for you? So automated processes has two main components: tracks and events. So here's my automated process center in GoldMine, and this is a track here called New Record, and within the record are a series of events. The events within each track are set to perform an action when triggered by a specific condition. It's a bit like a little mini computer program, a sequence of events that normally one will happen after another. And this is the primary work area where this automated process center here, this is the primary work area where you define these processes, you set them up. So here is an example of a new record. Well, let me just first of all give you some examples of what you might use automated processes for. Simple one, sending out an email with maybe a follow-up phone call for 5 days time. Maybe you've done something to a customer and you want to make sure that one or many events happen automatically. Well, yes, you could do that manually one by one, but it may be over a number of records, a group of records. This will save you time by applying a process across multiple records, and it would do those activities automatically at a predefined time span you want. Next example, every time a new record or every time a record in the database is entered, change its status to new customer. So changing the status of records based on some kind of activity or some other field. Checking, going back to when records are first added into the database, whether they are manually added in or come through your website. Check a new record when it's added to the database to make sure it's got some valid information. Do we have a job title? Have we got a phone number for this person? And then maybe alerting a salesperson, a user who may be in charge of this record with tidying up that new record. Nothing's worse than new records coming to your system with incomplete information or missing information. Another example, if a sale is due in the next 30 days, schedule a follow-up phone call if no call is already scheduled or planned. Maybe you're doing quotes in your company, you use the sales forecast system in GoldMine. Maybe it's a good idea to follow up that prospect with a phone call prior to them potentially making a decision on that sale. That's what automated process can do for you if a user hasn't scheduled a call automatically. We don't duplicate calls, but if nothing's there, automated processes will kick into action and fill the gap and schedule a call for you. Order processing. So when you process an order in your company, maybe there's a number of steps or reminders that your users have to do or complete certain tasks in a certain sequence. Another example, doesn't need to be sales orientated, it can be back office admin orientated as well. Do you have a long sales cycle in your business? So maybe customers have or take many months for them to decide on your products or services. So you could have an automated process for contacts who are not ready to buy yet. Maybe setting up a number of informative emails going out automatically, plus a few wake-up calls during the period to just remind them of you and your services and so on. Do you have contracts, going back to administration, do you have contracts that need following up, or maybe 30 days before the contract renewal date, maybe something needs to happen to the contract? What happens when the contract renewal date passes and the contract has gone into an expiry status? Do you need to then schedule something automatically? Maybe the salesperson, maybe then that's a sales activity, a salesperson needs to call them. Maybe you have a list of your top 100 customers and they need to be contacted on a regular 3-month basis. So you could, of course, you could be using GoldMine for tracking that, but what if someone forgets to make those calls to an important client? Well, you could have GoldMine, an automated process, schedule an activity with a client if they haven't been called in the last, or if we haven't emailed them in the last 90 days. And I could go on. There's so many different examples. If you just in your own company, if you think of things that you do on a regular basis in GoldMine or from a sales point of view, maybe they could be automated and put into a GoldMine automated process. So here we see an example of the automated process center, and each of these tracks, think of them as little mini computer programs, all these different events, one happening after another. All of these events are numbered, so there's some kind of a sequence control there. They're prefixed by a P or an S, a preemptive event or a sequential event. Preemptive means every time GoldMine scans the system for something to do. So you can in GoldMine schedule this scan to happen once a day or once an hour, whatever frequency you want. But basically, GoldMine is going to go through the whole system, and it can be running 24/7, looking for things to do, scanning these tracks, these processes and events, looking for something that is due, that should be done. And these preemptive events will always be looked at whenever this scanning thing goes on. So here is a track called new record. Maybe it's something that is automatically applied. Whenever someone adds a new record to the database, this process is automatically in the background attached to it. And unbeknownst to the user, it is checking for things. Have we got their right address? Maybe this is a competitor, so we don't want them to get salesy type information, or maybe they're a supplier. There's a different type of relationship of that contact to your company. It may be inappropriate for them to receive promotional information from you or get sales calls, of course. So we would remove this thing from this track from the contact record, and they won't be offended or any inappropriate activity going on there. So lots of different events. If I just double click on one of these events here, just to give you an idea of the different options you got. Now, this is not meant to be training. My company, we do go through this. It takes at least, well, half a day to a full day to go through all the ins and outs of automated process, so you fully understand the true power of this system, and you can then adapt it, adopt it in your own business. So we have here an event description. We've got this sequence in this track where it's going to occur. I just click next here. So then we've got a trigger. What type of trigger is this event? Is it going to happen immediately? Is it so many days after the last thing that went on? Is it based on a scheduled activity, a phone call that's due, a sale that's due, project? Lots of different options there that you've got. Then we have the action. Okay, so if the trigger condition is true, is valid, what thing do you want to do to this customer, this contact record? And again, there's many options there. We could print out a letter, send them an email, print out a report, schedule an activity like a phone call or some other task to another user, create a history record, create a detail record, add them to a group, add them to some kind of list, update a field in the database, add another process. So this track could jump onto another track, like the branches of a tree, like the roots of a tree, further going out and doing other things. So lots of different options, even running another application as well. So that's just very briefly what an automated process looks like. As I say, it is a very powerful part of GoldMine. It wouldn't normally be set up by ordinary users. It would be set up by the administrator of your GoldMine system, maybe in consultation with my company, with the Systems First, to check. Where those processes appear is on a Processes tab of the contact record. So there's the contact tab bar. One of them is called Process, and this will show you what the one or many tracks that this record has, and also when is the next, what's the description of the next event that's going to happen, and when was the last event run, and so on. So a good little indication there to users. And there are lots of things that the users can do here. They can attach processes, they want to remove processes, if you give them the ability to do that. So there you are, just a brief run through automated processes, or APs as we refer to them. very powerful part of GoldMine, and my company do offer training and advice and consultation around this area. So it's now we now come to the presentation where I'm very happy to answer any of your questions. So please type those into the question box in the meeting control panel. First question from Heidi: can a process be made to work on a detail record? Yes, it can. So yes, that could be a trigger, or we could add a detail record based on some other trigger, if you understand what I mean. So yeah, either way, Heidi, yeah, it could do that for you. Obviously depends where the information is in detail record. We primarily work on the main information in the detail record, not some of the more background information against the detail record. I'd say the notes field. So yeah. Clinton, what is the possibility of when someone is on stop in our Sage system, it notifies GoldMine? Now, automated processes are standard. They'll work on information that's held within the GoldMine database. So if this stopping process there, Clinton, if the information isn't in GoldMine, then no, you can't do it. But we have set up for a number of other clients. We do have the capability here at Wizard Systems to set up processes outside of GoldMine that can look at information happening in another application that relates to GoldMine, a contact record, and then do something. For example, if you're familiar with record alerts in GoldMine, so when you stumble across a customer record, up pops a little window in the middle of your screen alerting you to some information about that customer or that company. That's a record alert in GoldMine, standard feature. But we did set it up once for a client a few years back now, whereby when the financial controller put someone on stop in Sage 50, I think it was. I don't know whether that's the one you've got. Sage 50, it would actually apply a record alert automatically in GoldMine, so people in GoldMine would know whether a client was on stop or not, and then when they're off stop, then the record alert is removed. So yes, it could be possible, but it's not a standard automated process thing, if you see what I mean. Saeed, based on someone's response to an email, can we send out? Can we then update a field in a GoldMine based on that response? Again, that's not a standard automated process thing. However, there is an add-on to GoldMine. There's an email marketing add-on to GoldMine called IntelliClick, which has a way of updating fields based on. So you send out an email to a customer. If they click on this hyperlink, that to say they're interested or they want a phone call made to them, that could update something back in. It could update a field back in GoldMine. So not a standard AP, but it might need you to look at. We can show it to you, the IntelliClick email add-on to GoldMine. Next question from Christina. Without going into every customer record, how can you view what automated processes have been actioned? Can you pull a report detailing these? Yeah, there is a way of seeing that. There's a switch you can turn on to track these processes. If you want to see them in more detail, you will see them in the process monitor as well. Of course, these automated processes, generally they're going to update something in your GoldMine database. They're going to update a field, or they're going to create something in history, or they're going to schedule an activity for a user to do something with that customer. So of course, visually, you can look at a contact record, and once once the system has scanned it, you will then see, you can prove to yourself that it's worked because something, the intended action has occurred against that contact record. You can go to the process tab and you can see that that was the last action that was done, and you can see the next action in the process. But there is, I'll ask one of my colleagues, and I'll email you later. There is something else in the system, Christina, that you can sort of turn on and turn off, but it will then show you more of like an audit trail. That's the word I was looking for, like an audit trail of these automated processes. So I don't think there's any more questions coming through. Just a brief update to you. We've got a GoldMine advanced training course next Wednesday. Please contact us for more information. We're not touching APs on that advanced course, but it's very good background, more advanced information for power users in GoldMine. Please contact us for details. 5 days ago, Hotfix 3 came out for the latest release of GoldMine, which is 2017.1. So these regular hotfixes come out through the year. If you've got a maintenance contract, an annual maintenance contract with us, you can get these updates. That's the only way of getting GoldMine upgrades, is to have an annual maintenance or support support contract with Wizard Systems. So please contact us for details on that. It is on our GoldMine blog, Hotfix 3. Let me just go to that. So yeah, go to our GoldMine blog. It'll give you more information on, there we are, GoldMine Hotfix 3 now available for download, with more information on what's happened in that little mini update. As regards major updates, we are expecting 2017.2 to come out in mid-November. This will have, I mentioned this on a previous call, but this is going to have, and we will do more of an in-depth presentation on this when it is publicly available. But it's going to have some visual enhancements, some visual improvements to the interface, email center updates, Constant Contact update, and Constant Contact is another email marketing system that integrates with GoldMine. On the web side, it's going to work more effectively with Outlook now, and more customizations, rich text displays, and there's going to be some improvements to the Outlook link as well. We are increasingly being asked about GoldMine's compliance with GDPR, the new regulations coming up in May 2018. GoldMine will make their announcements, or their owners, Ivanti, will make the announcements, for example, to make sure that GoldMine web users, as a requirement, their web server has an HTTPS certificate to make them all secure and compliant with some of the regulations around GDPR. And again, more on that on a future presentation. So thanks very much for your time this morning. If you've got any good ideas for future presentations that might be relevant to the GoldMine community at large, please email me, tim@wizard-systems.com. So my name again is Tim Wilmot. Thanks very much for your time if you're listening live or listening to this as a recording. If you want any more information about CRM systems, upgrades, GoldMine add-ons, just give us a call. There's our contact details, website, wizard-systems.com or .co.uk. But thanks very much for your time this morning. Appreciate that. Thanks very much indeed. Bye-bye.